28 songs later, day 7 coming at you. Okay, coming at you. So, wearing a cap, yeah, only specifically wearing this cap because today we're going to do a Gameboy song, and this is my pride possession, my pride and joy. This is a cap signed by the power pop chiptune band Anamanaguchi, who are probably my favourite band in the entire universe. Yeah. So, what we're going to do today, I'm going to take this off so I don't look like a dick. Alright, so I've made this song on a Game Boy. I'm not going to show you it on the Game Boy because this isn't backlit, so holding a camera over it would be just awful and you wouldn't want to watch that. I have 2 Game Boy Colors as well, they're also in pieces. Also, this doesn't have any battery, so there's another reason. So all 3 of my Game Boys are kind of out of commission for various reasons at the moment, and it would just suck to show you on a direct screen. It's better to show you on an emulator because we can do that nowadays. So I'm going to show you the song on the emulator. The emulator I'm using is called Gameboy. A Japanese word, how to put weird voice on when you say it, which means try your best. I just had to look that up there. First time I recorded the video I didn't know, which is pretty cool. It's the best emulator for sound. Now, because you may be wondering, like, okay, well, if I'm using an emulator, how true is that? Like, does a Game Boy sound better? And Gameboy is designed entirely around sounding as close and you know, being visually as close to the Game Boy as possible, including any glitches, everything. So that's what I use. I know a lot of people might suggest using like Visual Boy Advance or whatever because it has a load of cool features and a really great emulator, but I use this because it has the best sound, right? But really, I've only just installed this now. Like, I knew about it, but I don't really use it. I pretty much do everything actually on the Game Boy because I can do it while I commute. So when I'm on the bus, going to college, going to work, whatever, you can sit there with your Game Boy, sit there with your headphones on, everybody going, why is that guy got a Game Boy? Did you not know that the DS came out a couple of years ago? In fact, the 3DS is coming soon. That guy's a bit weird, what's he doing? But you can write a lot of cool songs on the move, which is one of the main reasons I got into it. Now, I'm just going to say something about the kind of reasoning behind chiptune, right? And there's kind of a misconception where people think that people make chiptune music because they like video games, and that's it, right? People go, oh, well, I played tons of Mega Man, that had really awesome music. It does. When I was a kid, so I'm gonna make music like that, which is fair enough, right? But it's not really all about that. You'll find a lot of chiptune musicians mostly stick with chiptune because they like the limitations, right? And this is what I was talking about in another video before. If you impose limitations on yourself, you make better music, you make better art, I think. That's my own opinion, but I mean, a lot of people back that up, a lot of people will agree with me. And on a Game Boy, you're limited to 4 channels. You've got, and one of them only makes noise, right? So you've got 2 channels to make melody with, well, 3 channels to make melody with, and then a channel to make noise with. And you've got to use that as creatively as possible. I mean, you can only play 4 things at the same time. And when you start getting into that and using that, you're like, whoa, I'm pretty limited here. And I mean, it's not like you have a wide range of sounds, and you can't just like, you know, throw fucking ping pong delay or reverb over everything to you know, mess around with sounds. Like, you don't have that freedom, so you've got to be really precise and really creative with that limitation you've got. And that's why a lot of people like it. A lot of people always tell you that. It's like they like the limitation. They also like the fact that they're reappropriating hardware. I mean, this is a Game Boy. Game Boy. It's not a sound boy. It's not a music boy. So people like the fact that they're reappropriating their old childhood stuff as modern music creation tools to do something completely different, something that they weren't designed to do at all. So I've got a cartridge, LSDJ cartridge, and a copy of LSDJ, which I bought. It's free. You can download LSDJ, it's free, it's donationware, but you can't save. But I mean, if most of you are using it anyway, that's not a big deal. But if you do like it, I really suggest you buy it, because the guy who made it is awesome. It's possibly one of the best trackers I've ever used for anything. It's really well made. The interface is fantastic. It's as good as it possibly could be on a Game Boy. So we're going to jump into the song now, but I mean, like I said, don't dismiss chiptune as just like this, just game music, right? I mean, I write songs that are heavily influenced by listening to games as a kid. Like, I used to finish 6 Golden Coins for the Game Boy, DuckTales, loads of games just so I could hear the end music, you know? I was like the staff roll in Link's Awakening, that's an awesome song, songs like that. And that's kind of had a big influence on me, and a lot of that is the tone of game music. always kind of very cheery usually, and I really like that. So that's kind of where a lot of influences come from me. But it's not just game music. There's a lot more to it than that. And you'll find a lot of people involved aren't even people who are big into games. They like the limitations given by the hardware, and I think that's cool. So we're going to go to the song now. I'm sorry I spent so much time talking shit. I'm going to show it you on the screen on the emulator. So I'm going to put a lot of links down below to stuff you might want to know if you want to get into this. If you are remotely interested, I suggest you try it, right? Because it looks quite daunting at first, but if you read the documentation, like the manual, and you just have a fiddle, you will get it. Okay, I'm no expert, but you can make something cool with not much effort, but you can figure it out, okay? And it's a good way to learn a lot of things. I'm going to put some links down below. So, into the song. Okay, so welcome to my emulator, Gameboy, and running LSDJ. So I've ripped this straight off the cart. I haven't done any work on it. I've literally only downloaded this emulator to show you it, basically, and to record it, because at the moment I can't record off my Gameboys because they're either in pieces or have no batteries, as I said before. There's also a page I'm going to link in the comments that has information on which Game Boys sound best and what issues are with them. So the Pocket actually has an issue with batteries on certain flash cards, stuff like that, if you're interested in getting it. Anyway, this is what you see when you first start up LSDJ. You won't see all these numbers, right? But you'll just see this is empty. You'll see it'll look like, if I go down to the bottom, it takes ages. Okay, you see all these dashes? It'll just be full of dashes, okay? So what these are is these are 4 channels for a start, right? If you look at the very top, you have PU1, PU2, WAV, and Noise. PU1 and PU2 are pulse channels. They're the synth. The Game Boy can only play 4 things at the same time, right? But it can't play just 4 anything. It has limitations. It has 4 specific channels you have to work with all differently. So the 2 pulse channels operate the exact same, right? These are kind of your bread and butter. They are the Game Boy sound. They're the bleeps and bloops, the square waves, the pulse waves, the cool shit, right? The trademark sound. The wave channel is technically the most powerful channel, but not really. It has a bunch of limitations, like you can only set the volume in 3 steps. It's either, well, 4 steps you can't off. It's either off, low, medium, or high. That's it. You don't get any other flexibility. And the 4th channel can only make noise, so you literally can only get these sounds. Sound familiar? Those are hi-hats and snares. So that's what you do in LSDJ for Game Boy music. For pretty much all chiptune trackers on old hardware, you generally use the noise channel to create your snares. So like, and hi-hats. Hi-hats sound a lot better. The snares are a bit, that's really, I don't know. A lot of chiptune people will import this stuff afterwards into like Ableton and add proper drums. So that's what Saberpulse does, if you know Saberpulse. He imports stuff into Ableton and then adds proper drums, basically, after the fact of doing all the melody and everything in this. So he doesn't use the noise channel as much, but you can still hear it. Some people layer real drums under the noise channel. Now, you might be asking, how do you get like bass drums? So bass drums, you actually have to use your pulse channel. So if you see here, if you hear the first beat here, now that's kind of laggy, but that's just an issue right now because I'm recording the screen. But basically, you just kind of program stuff along. So basically, each of these numbers represents a phrase, right? Well, a chain, actually. It represents a chain, which can be up to 16 phrases. Now, everything's in hex in this program, hexadecimal, which means it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, which goes up, which is 16, right? So that's an easy way of representing it. So if you just think of F as 16, then, and yeah, you'll understand it then. It's just a different numerical system. Don't worry, it's not that complicated. So I only ever use 4 phrases, right? Because I want to keep my songs 4/4, and I want to, like, it makes it easier to kind of swap stuff around. But a lot of people will actually fill up all this and use the whole thing. So these then contain phrases, which are literally 16 notes. 16 notes, right? And you literally type in the notes. You get your, you press A, and then you just like, you can mess around with the notes, right? You just move them around. Now this is a very powerful software. There's lots of cool stuff you can, believe it or not. Right, that sounds quite strange, but this is very well made. It has advanced cut and pasting on a Game Boy, loads, copy and pasting, cloning, loads of cool stuff. It's really well thought out. The interface is probably as good as it possibly could be on a Game Boy. So I highly recommend checking it out. If you are going to use it, I suggest you get a gamepad and assign stuff that way, because it will make your life a lot easier if you're going to do it on an emulator. So yeah, these then are assigned to instruments. So you literally say, I want to play instrument 2, I want to play note C5 on instrument 2 at the first step, right? And my tempo, you can see here on the right, is 144. So it's going to play those 16 notes at that tempo, right? And it's going to play whatever was step. So note 2 for me is my kick drum, so it goes boom, right? Note 0 is a bass note. So if you hold select and go right, you get to this screen, which is your instrument screen, and this will show you all the stuff, right? I'm not going to explain this in detail. There's tutorials that will tell you that out there, but this is where you kind of define your sound. Then there's tables. Again, not going to explain tables. I'll just tell you that this P command and this K command kills the sound, and this P command pitches it down, so it goes boo, boo. Not sure if you'll be able to see that. So yeah, tables are another thing that's very common in trackers. If you're interested in trackers, look that up. But all the interesting thing is the WAV channel, its instruments screens. Let me find a wave instrument down here. Yeah, its instrument screens are different because you have this wave editor, and if you know what a waveform looks like, which I presume you do if you're watching these videos, that's actually a waveform. This on the screen right here is a waveform, just very crudely drawn with pixels. So you can directly edit that. You can move stuff up and down and change the sound, and that will change the sound as editing a normal waveform would do. Waveform editing is very common in trackers again. For me, this looks quite confusing. You see these 7Fs and 1As and everything everywhere. I use 7F as a blocker, right? So FE is my empty chain. All it has is a kill command at the start, and that goes, stop playing everything, right? And it's just 4 empty phrases, right? So it's 4 empty sets of 16 notes. So I use that to kind of pad space when I don't want the channel to be playing anything. Other than that, all of these are just phrases. They're just chains with phrases in them, right? And I've just laid them out. So really, when it gets to these points, this is where melody starts happening, and you have to run across a lot of chains. There's not really much interesting I can say about the song exclusively, apart from the fact that it's done in LSDJ. There's some neat melodies. I mean, you can do amazing stuff with legato and like slides in LSDJ. You get such awesome sounds. Like, let me find one here. I think there's maybe one in here. Yeah. Okay. So let's try this. Yeah, it's really laggy, but that does sound awesome, right? Well, obviously not right here, but listen to the song and it does. You get this woo, this cool sound, and that's really awesome. That's one of the coolest things in chiptune I like. So that's pretty much it. I suggest you listen to the song. If you are interested in LSDJ, just ask me, like comment or whatever. I'll make more videos about it. I have no problem. I'm not an expert. There are some better videos, I'm going to link those in the comments, made by much better musicians than me that you can watch that will help you out. And some better tutorials, and there's a huge community around this stuff. It's really well documented. So if you are interested, I recommend you get into it. It's really easy to get into, apart from how difficult this looks. I know this looks very daunting, but you will get it if you are interested. So that's pretty much it for day 7. I'm gonna do tomorrow a video criticizing all the past 7 things. So I'm gone now. Thank you very much for watching the video. See you day 8.